Hey there! Today I'm going to show you how to create a mosaic collage using jelly prints. So this is a technique that I actually developed, you can see over here, but I use fabric on my large paintings on canvas. Now that I've been doing and playing with jelly prints and everything, I thought, why not do this jelly papers on a wood panel? So here's like a little sneak peek. Anyway, that's what we're going to do today. I started with some greenery graphics that I transferred to an artboard and then followed that up with the flamingo. So my flamingo is divided up with 3 shades of pink, and I'm planning to paint the background shades of teal, indicating some water. I'm mixing teal with titanium white, and I use turquoise, I think it's like a phthalo shade, for my dark color to blend and add movement. I'll put the exact colors that I'm using in the description below. The trick is to use layers to give it depth, mixing darker shades of teal with your white and layering, and I even use my fingers to do some smudging. So here I'm just touching up the edges with some black gesso, so we have a nice clean transition. Here you can't tell, but I'm using 3 different green papers I made with my custom stencils. I've taped them together and I'm going to cut through all 3. And here you'll see why. I'm alternating the paper designs for more interest. After selecting which one to put where, I start to glue to the board. The best part of working on wood is that I can cut my papers to fit right on the board. So here are some of the papers that I selected for this project. I have dark papers and light papers and medium papers, and I've cut with scissors. So now I'm going to start with the darker areas first. If you're interested in having a black and white copy of this flamingo layout so that you can transfer it onto your own board or canvas, then please follow the link in the description below and you can download it. As you can see, this is a very long and tedious process. I mean, I still get this painting done pretty quickly because it's small, but each piece has to be placed where it's best suited. And sometimes towards the end, we get these little tiny areas. It's almost like putting a puzzle together, and we finally have to cut a piece for a specific spot. So it can be really tedious, but it can also be very meditative. So if you like collage tutorials, I hope you'll consider joining me here on this channel, and please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, whatever you feel comfortable with. So if you've seen my larger paintings that are in shades of gray from my Gray Matter series, it is done in a very similar process, except it's fabric. So I have positive thoughts printed on fabric in different shades of gray, and then I cut up the fabric with a fabric wheel. In this case, these are jelly papers, and they're easy to cut with scissors or with an X-Acto knife. And I'm actually preferring the fabric, I think. I think the paper was a little bit difficult to work with, but I love the result of this from what I've seen so far. Okay, so I'm starting to move into the medium shades now. And really, once you get like from dark to medium to light, it really starts to come alive. So it's very important that you don't do an overall shade of just one pink. It just won't have the dimension. If you haven't seen the video where I create these pink papers, I'll put the link up in the upper right-hand corner. So if you see some progress sort of jumping, it's because I'm trying not to bore you. This can be very tedious. It does take a really long time. And you don't have to see every single piece that's being placed on the board. I think you will still get the idea of what it is I'm doing here. I'm starting to bring in some of the lighter papers now. That will really make a difference. You could see it now. It's really starting to have some highlights and some shadow. So I didn't have anything really dark shadow. I think that would have taken away from it. But the lighter areas really give it more dimension. So you might have noticed I used 2 pages for each of the jelly prints. I did 2 different light ones, 2 different mediums, 2 different darks, and that was so that I could get some variation. I would love to hear in the comments below if this is something that you think you could do. Do you have the patience for this? It does require some patience, but while the end results are worth it, I think. But just tell me in the comments, do you have the patience for this? So I've always loved the look of mosaic, but I hate working in tile. So that was why about 10 years ago, I started experimenting with fabric in a mosaic pattern. It still gives me that feeling of mosaics, but incorporating with the paint with it, you know, the little mixed media touches. I just think it's a lot more fun, although I have done mosaic with tile, but I prefer working now even in paper, I see. So paper, fabric, other materials, whatever you can do, you can still do a mosaic and you don't have to get your hands dirty. The other day I had the idea that coloring books would be a good source of graphics for something like this because they're already broken down into sort of almost like paint by numbers. So you could easily transfer a coloring book drawing onto a wood board and then pick some colors and make some papers and create something like this. I think that would be really fun. Okay, so I'm at that stage now where you see I have these little tiny areas that I have to put little tiny pieces in. Sometimes I cut little strips, little squares, little triangles, whatever I can to fit in those tiny little spaces so we don't have black dots all over the place. I added also plain white paper to the top part of the, I guess you would call it a beak, and that is very important to the look of the flamingo. I'm getting really close to the finish now. It's there I am with the little tiny pieces. Sometimes it helps to have, I should have had tweezers, but I don't have any right now. But sometimes I use my X-Acto knife to kind of nudge things around. Pick them up because by this time my fingers are filled with glue. So the last part we have is the eye, and I mix up a little bit of orangey yellow paint. I start with like a lighter yellow, and then I layered a little bit of an orangey yellow, warmer yellow on top, and see that, and then a little bit of highlight, and of course he needs a little black dot in the middle and a little highlight top and bottom, and we've got an eye. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you really enjoyed this video and that you got something out of it. That's what my goal is. And don't forget, create, inspire, and share. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.